Hello and welcome to The Print. Well, vote counting is underway in West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Puducherry. Early trends show that the BJP is leading in West Bengal and Assam, and in Tamil Nadu, actor Vijay's party TVK has made a strong entry. In Kerala, the UDF is performing well so far. Well, to decode the results and the trends, we have with us Yashwant Deshmukh, founder director of See Voter. Welcome to The Print, sir.
Thank you.
A lot of people are saying that we must wait for the final results, but I would like to first ask you about West Bengal. Are you at all surprised by the trends, what they are indicating?
Honestly speaking, I'm not surprised because the kind of anti-incumbency or the anger that was simmering on the ground, the only point was that can the female voters of South Bengal remain intact with the Mamata Banerjee and the TMC, because there was anger. We had seen in our trackers, there was huge anger building up against the TMC's governance, rank and file, and particularly on the question of law and order, which was pretty much there. Surprisingly, there was no anger against Mamata Banerjee in person. We never found that in that way, but and I have written openly about it, that the anger is coming at the TMC's door on the issues of corruption, the failure of law and order, misgovernance, the political violence, everything that you can count on. It was only a question, can Mamata Banerjee override that with her personal popularity and personal touch? Can she do that? And I think the difference last time and this time was that while the last time the campaign in Bengal was personally against Mamata Banerjee, with the BJP faltered with the Didi O Didi campaign line and other things that happened, and this time they realized there is no point in targeting Mamata Banerjee, and they went against Baipo. So basically Baipo or Abhishek Banerjee became more of a symbol of dynastic politics or the corruption or everything that was going wrong. And this is where I think the difference of 4-5%, the exact swing that BJP needed to turn it around, that came in. If you look into the complete meltdown of the left and the Congress votes, which together they commanded almost about 11-12% last time, it has crashed down to 6%. So my understanding is that almost entirely in the Hindu vote of left and the Congress finally went to the BJP big time, and the female voters, a section of that who suffered from the misdeeds of the TMC rank and file and law and order issues on the ground, they eventually left Mamata Banerjee, fearing probably the issue of their personal safety security for them and for their daughters was more important, which unfortunately Mamata Banerjee could not read that sentiment properly.
Right. Well, you point out that, BJP did not have a sort of personally targeted Mamata Banerjee as it did last time. And that could have been one of the reasons that, we are seeing these trends. But do you also think that this entire issue, in a way, that has sort of haunted the BJP in West Bengal, the leadership issue, that, who can they pit against Mamata Banerjee? Do you think they have also cracked that a sort of a collective leadership that the BJP has been talking about, while also at the same time Suvendu Adhikari being there?
I think they cracked that equation way back in Odisha in the last assembly election, without any phase going for a collective, and that too against a towering popular personality like Naveen Babu. Naveen Babu was arguably India's #1 most popular chief minister for 10 years in a row in our MOTN surveys. And he, even when he lost the election, he actually polled more votes than the BJP. But the mandate went against his unpopularity of sitting MLAs, MPs, and the local rank and file. BJP could easily play for, because Naveen Babu, you remember, in BJD dumped the BJP unceremoniously in 2009 elections. And since then, the BJP was slow and steady playing their own role in patiently. They knew they had the organization. It was only a matter of time whenever the anti-incumbency sentiment at the micro level will reach a tipping scale and they will be in. I think that is precisely what has happened in West Bengal. While Mamata Banerjee tried to, make it a national level thing or a central level thing, BJP went for the local kind of election campaign, and that is where it started working for them. Instead of targeting the leadership, we went against the local level, a local level of leadership of the TMC that was doing, I mean, probably hurting the local people in more ways than we can think of. And then one very strange thing happened, uh, which people are not realizing right now, Neelam. I think BJP should send a big bouquet and lots of rasagullas to someone called Muhammad Yunus in Bangladesh. I think without knowing and how much impact in a very subtle way the happenings of Bangladesh have impacted the West Bengal psyche, the lynching of Hindus over there, that kind of thing kind of exposed a fault line which were covered up for 7, 8 decades after the partition. People forget. Bengal had a history of partition, much more violent history of partition than Punjab witnessed in India. So I think these were only a matter of time when they were getting exposed. BJP was there as the default gainer of that because their rank and file and the organization were pretty much placed to take of that. And full marks to Amit Shah on this one, actually. Full marks to two people, actually. In a political way to Amit Shah, in a non-political way to much targeted Ganesh Kumar of CEC, because in the West Bengal election, not a single incident of violence happening. That was the first. When was the last? I mean, come to think of it, per capita political violence index must be the highest in West Bengal during the election across India. This time, not having any single incident whatsoever. Credit where due. Let's do that. Let's be a bit more gracious in doing that. And one thing which I must say, a lot of narrative will float around, Neelam, and I want to say it on your platform, that people will try to say that BJP managed to win by hook or by crook due to SIR. And BJP would not have won Bengal if there would not have been SIR. Anybody saying that is not only dishonest, but lying to the teeth, I would say. Because when you look into the straight-facketed data, you will realize that the seats where maximum deletions happened were the most competitive ones. And actually, the majority of the proportion of the TMC seats are coming from the areas where maximum deletions have happened. And BJP has won disproportionately except where minimum deletions have happened. So that tells you, and that same trend was observed, by the way, in Bihar. In Bihar, even after a complete sweep of JDU, BJP actually lost all the seats where maximum deletions have happened. So this theory falls flat. I think SIR was made an issue out of proportion, and then saying that BJP has won Bengal because of SIR and the deletions related to SIR would be completely not just unjustified, it would be dishonest to start with. And as long as opposition leaders would keep on looking at that way, I do not think they will find a way to figure out how to get around the BJP's juggernaut, because it is the same SIR which has happened in Kerala, where Congress has won. It is the same SIR which has happened in Tamil Nadu, where TVK has won, not AIADMK, but TVK has won. Please remember that. So, so I think that says a lot. I believe that there are a lot many things this election is throwing up for us to analyze, see in retrospect what exactly has gone, where for the opposition to analyze and understand what is to be done next.
Right. Before I move on to Tamil Nadu and other states, one more question about West Bengal, irrespective of who wins. I mean, because why I'm saying that is that counting is still going on in West Bengal. What do you think, as far as the state is concerned, will change? If a BJP government comes into power, for people, for governance, in terms of policy, whichever government comes to power, as you're pointing out, that these elections are very significant, as in the kind of change they will usher in.
Okay, I'm going to answer it a little tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, but a very serious one. On the note of local political financing, Left Front killed the West Bengal industry on the ideological lines. All right, it was done and dusted. Eventually, for their political economy, they relied on a system which in a very Hindi way, I can say it as a hafta vasuli. All right. Mamata Banerjee came on riding on the wave of Parivartan, but unfortunately, she inherited that entire political structure of hafta vasuli in West Bengal politics. You know, whomsoever was working for CPM swung lock, stock and barrel in that rank and file to Mamata Banerjee. So, in reality, there was no parivartan of sort as far as the people of West Bengal were concerned. Now, will that change? What will immediately happen, Neelam, is that grassroots level corruption and the law and order issue, people who are the wrong side of the law and order in that way, they will try to swing overnight to the BJP camp, because that's the way political economy in that state performs and functions. All right, that's a fact. Now, what probably can change, and I wish it changes, is something for which the BJP has been criticized by everybody everywhere, is that they are playing the big business people's party. You know, now in West Bengal, that charge actually come to their rescue if they can bring in the big businesses, open up the sick units, bring new investment, create employment, give a boost to the GDP of West Bengal, by the way, which is the lowest in the country in that at this point of time. The so-called Bimaru states, all the states have taken over. Odisha has taken over. Jharkhand has taken over. MP, UP. I mean, basically, when you look into the trend line, every other state is going up, barring West Bengal, which is going down. If the BJP, using their own clout among the business powerhouses of India, can bring that the old glory, by the way, which was the West Bengal's original claim to fame when the Britishers were here. West Bengal was highly industrialized state, which they lost it. If they can do that, because BJP doesn't need hafta vasuli for their political finances and survival. They do not actually need the low level of corruption to survive the politics of West Bengal. If they can do away with that, I guess that would be the biggest relief to the West Bengal people and politics in that way. That would be the biggest relief to the suffering public of West Bengal. And if that relief is given and new industry and new jobs open up, West Bengal can at least try to limp back to their, to a normal state of a normal growth. Forget about the old glory. Other states are here. West Bengal is probably here in terms of economic development. They just need to grow. So there lies your answer. This could be a big difference if BJP plays pragmatically and correctly. And one thing which I hope, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that there will be no counter violence if BJP comes to power, because that is a violence and counter violence and counter violence. That is something which is only a race to the bottom. I'm aware and I understand that there would be certain things, because many people have suffered for very long and they would be taking things their own. But I just hope that whomsoever is getting into power just lets the state to heal by going against people who are taking law into their hands.
Very briefly, if I could just ask you, what do you think it means for Mamata Banerjee as a leader? Someone who was all set to lead. There were these reports about she could lead the India Alliance. What does it mean for her?
I think it will be a great setback to her, but she is a street fighter, and nevertheless, someone who has defeated left. When you compare Mamata Banerjee's rule and left rule, you will figure out in the terms of political brutality, left rule was multiple times more than what TMC rule was. So if she could fight left, she is not a spent force. She is still polling more than 40% even in the defeating movements. So she has a strong support of minorities in the state. She still has a strong support of females in the state. Otherwise, her vote share would not have crossed 40%. The only minorities, she would have polled only 27% at all in that way. So I think it will for her to realize what went wrong, and it's also for other opposition leaders to understand that minority appeasement politics is fine as long as it is not creating an anti-Hindu image. The moment you cross the fine line and start protecting the anti-social element or criminal element in the name of minority appeasement politics, this is where it goes wrong. This is where your image of being giving justice goes wrong. I think what has done a great damage to TMC and Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal is that in order to protect her minority support base, she turned a blind eye to the criminal elements coming from that support base. And that gave a sense of great injustice to a significant number of her supporters and who left her. I think should be a key learning for her and other opposition parties. You can survive in India, Neelam, electoral politics. If you are pro-Muslim, no problem with that. If you are doing Muslim politics, Muslims are voting for you, it's no problem. You can survive electoral. As long as your politics of minority appeasement does not cross the line of natural justice, you do not start harbinging and protecting the criminals coming from the minority backdrop in order to retain your vote bank. And that is where things start going down. That is where once the other side start feeling you are not doing justice, you are doing minority appeasement at the cost of law and order, at the cost of security and safety of the people. And that very moment, your branding of from pro-Muslim turns to anti-Hindu.
Right.
You can survive a pro-Muslim tag. You cannot survive an anti-Hindu tag in this India.
Well, quickly moving on to Tamil Nadu, what do you make of Vijay's TV case performance? And especially, has Gen Z sort of rooted for Vijay to break the Dravidian politics duopoly?
I think if anybody could have broken that bipolarity, it would have been a cine star. I mean, there is no other way of saying it. Rajnikant tried it, but I think when he tried doing that, there was still Jayalalitha around and there was still Karunanidhi around. And it was now all of a sudden you had a non-cine star, AIADMK, non-cine star in a way. Stalin was not a cinema star. His son, Udaynidhi was, but no match certainly to the popularity of Vijay. So he got actually a kind of a blank post to go on from the cinema popularity and the great unpopularity or anti-incumbency against DMK, which was bringing in, and that's where he scored. And somehow, even in this defeat, I would like to name Edapalli Palaniswamy is the one who, without politically having any image of film personality, has managed to remain number 2 in the state politics. So he has survived. He has not just survived, he has made sure that he's going to remain relevant another day, even after so many splits, from Sasikala to Dinakaran to OPS and everything that. And then the BJP, the way it was trying to pull down the ADMK to eat it up, that's a politics which we have seen. I think Vijay has won, no doubt, but quite a person who would remain relevant and stay alive to see another day would be Edapalli Palaniswamy. He is not over. So Tamil Nadu goes for another cinema magic in a vacuum where there was no cinema magic from anywhere else to counter.
Right. I also asked you about, has the Generation Z, we have talked a lot about Gen Z in other parts of the world, especially our neighboring countries. What about India? Vijay is a sort of a fan following that is there. A lot was being written about that he will garner the support of the youngsters. So do you think that has also played a major role?
Absolutely. Wherever Gen Z will see a possibility for a change, a positive change, and a neutral and third player, they might go for it. That happened in Delhi 13 years back. People were not talking about Gen Z at that point of time. Lekin jhadu chali na Delhi mein. I mean, it's not that it's the first time we are witnessing that. In fact, we have been witnessing that on and off plenty of places. But when we look at Gen Z, it is one bigger impact of Gen Z is that they are anti-dynasty. That is something for people to understand. What has happened in Assam? Why did Gaura Gogoi lost the election? that too from an area which was not just hometown, but a stronghold of his father. So this political babalos, dynastic politics, that part is like over. Gen Z has a charm for self-made people. Those who are self-made, those who do not inherit anything. They can connect to that kind of a growth story, be it business, be it a job, be it cinema. Those who are coming from nowhere, becoming a cinema superstar, Gen Z is going for that. While even in Bollywood, you can see that the number of flops that the kids of cinema stars are giving is going up. So Gen Z is a phenomena. If you want to understand, people are thinking it only as that anti-incumbent and to shake up the old world, blah, 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 blah. But this one very, very fine line is that they want to shake up the old world, but they want to go to the new people who is a self-made person. He or she should be seen as a success story by virtue of being herself or himself, whatever the person is. And they are not falling for a Gen Z superstar trying to do something replicating that Dhaka model or Kathmandu model or Colombo model in New Delhi. I'm sorry, it's not happening that way if you are inheriting that political capital from your parents or your grandparents or whatever generation it is coming from. It's not happening.
Right. Many are also drawing parallel between Arvind Kejriwal's AAP and Vijay's TVK. Do you also see that?
Yes, I do see that. It's a phenomenal. In fact, I would credit Arvind Kejriwal more on that because he was not a cinematic star. Here Vijay has capitalized or turned his cinema capital into his political capital. Arvind Kejriwal did something unthinkable, which nobody had done so far, in that way. Vijay is not a new phenomenon in South. Prior to that, we have seen TDP, NT Ramarao happening in Andhra Pradesh way back in '83. So from the cinema context and perspective, it's Andhra or Tamil Nadu going the cinema way for a new person is not something new. It's not a new phenomena. So if you are comparing Vijay with Arvind Kejriwal, still at this point of time, I will credit Arvind Kejriwal more than anyone else because he took on mighty BJP, first Sheila Dikshit contesting against her, winning that election, then mighty BJP under Narendra Modi. And he went on to win 2 mandates where BJP won 7-0 in Lok Sabha, but 67-3 and 65-5 and 62-8 kind of thing in the next 2 assembly election. So that way it's different. But yes, for a change, it's a welcome change. It's totally up to Vijay now how he proceeds from here. Because movies is one thing, pragmatic politics is another thing. And gone are the days of MGR politics where MGR or Karunanidhi could promise a pair of plastic chappals to females and a plastic ghada. Actually, this has happened. Can you believe it? And we are talking only about 30, 40 years back politics. It's not a too old a political phenomena. People have won in Tamil Nadu promising pair of plastic chappal and plastic ghada so that females can walk and get drinkable water from some really long distance. We have come a long way from a plastic chappal to color TVs to gold ornaments and to 3,000 rupees and whatnot. We have come a really long way in Indian politics, but this politics is going to test you in more ways than one. This welfareism politics, the fiscal discipline to manage that, these are the things which will make even the most experienced politicians sweat. No, not a joke that even Prime Minister Modi went to say about the Revadi culture, because right. He also knows it's unsustainable. Look what is happening in Himachal Pradesh. By going for the old pension scheme, what is the fiscal statement? The state is going bankrupt. So things are sustainable as far as the welfare politics is concerned. You have to bring in that scale of expertise in governance and the finance to run the state and turn around. By the way, Tamil Nadu, I mentioned you, the West Bengal was the worst of the GDP growth. Tamil Nadu was the best. Even after the best growth of GDP under Stalin, if these are the results, that certainly means the issue of corruptions are going up, and then the fine line, between the necessary and the luxury. What you call as a luxury to voters today, tomorrow they become necessity. That is the game of the welfare politics. What you are promising today, you have to promise something more and more and more and more.
Right.
Not an easy game. Not an easy game. It's easy to promise and win, and it's very difficult to sustain.
But TVK may on its own may not be able to sort of cross the majority mark which is required. What options do you think TVK has? Do you think they can align with AIDMK?
I think on an anti-incumbent verdict, they can very well align and they can bring in stability. But he has kind of tried to draw a line that I am neither here nor there kind of thing. I am on my own. So he can also try to look into the smaller parties. But if you will ask me, if I were to suggest him, I would say that rather than taking support of 6 smaller parties with 2-3 MLAs each, he should go for a stable partner like ADMK, do a proper sharing and run the government, because ADMK also has an experience of running the government, in Palaniswamy has the experience. So if he is prudent enough, probably if he doesn't get the majority mark, rather than compromising with multiple number of smaller players, it is better to compromise and shake hand with one of the bigger players, and in order to provide a stable government.
Right. Quickly, I would like to just ask you about Assam and Kerala. Assam, it's a hat trick for the BJP. And at a time when you also mentioned that anti-incumbency has hurt parties in other states, what has worked for the BJP here? Is it just the Himanta factor, the brand and appeal of PM Modi, or the welfare scheme? Or as you were pointing out, there were these doles, these freebies or so-called freebies that were handed out to a lot of women voters also?
I think all of the above. But even though everybody is looking into Hindu and Muslim Assam kind of binaries, I would still like to give credit to Himanta Biswa Sarma on the governance part. Largely speaking, he has delivered a lot on the ground in terms of development and anything, and that goes an untold story actually, because at the national level we only listen to his remarks and then Mia's votes, and I don't need Mia's vote, and Mia's need not vote. So his anti-Muslim rhetoric has made more headlines than his governance has made. But the fact remains that he and his predecessor, Sarbanan Sonowal, both of them gave a decent enough governance in a state which was long deprived of a good governance and good development model, if I may say so. And that makes the baseline for him. And of course, the Congress doing the harakiri of not getting a proper grasp on the game in there, of letting their old and very, very senior leaders go by promoting just one of the gogois, by somehow relying overtly on the Muslim voters of Assam. You may win 100% of Muslim votes of Assam, that will still take to you what? 35%, 40% votes, 35% maybe. And that will still make you win what? If you get 100% votes in 25 seats and you lose 100 seats because you are not getting enough vote, what's the point? So I think Congress won Kerala because the minorities have voted for Congress and they are going to celebrate it. Congratulations to them. But what has been a problem of Assam is something which has worked for them in Kerala, but they have to be extremely careful there, because in Kerala they have old alliance with IUML, and Muslim League is the Muslim party of Kerala. So Congress can always claim that, our partner Muslim League is the Muslim party and I am a non-Muslim leadership of Kerala. Unlike in Assam, where they experimented with AIUDF, then dumped AIUDF. So now after dumping AIUDF, automatically they became the Muslim party of Assam. If they had carried the AIUDF at arm's distance as an alliance partner or something and said that, okay, Muslim politics, we have left it for Badruddin Azman, and we are doing the Hindu politics in Assam, that probably might have been more useful, because now By dumping Ajmal, they became the Muslim party of Assam, and that backfired. Now, similar kind of thing is likely to be witnessed in Kerala in 10 years, next 10 years, because left for the first time has lost everything in India.
Yes, I was just about to ask you that. Yes.
Yeah, they have lost for first time. I mean, India had the remarkable distinction in 1957 of electing the first ever elected communist government. That how much weird it may sound, but that was the fact. But since then, it is the first time that we have no communist government anywhere. And the moment they were out of power, they went for complete decimation and obliteration. In Tripura as well in West Bengal, we see, Now that game is going to be replayed in Kerala over the next 10 years. Because in Kerala, for all practical matters, CPM was the Hindu party of Kerala. Now, Christians and Muslims voted for Congress and UDF, and they are 45% of the vote bank, in Kerala, and which has made them win. Now, the BJP is going to sense the blood. They are going to sip the blood. They know where the meat is. They know the 13% that they have polled in assembly will easily go 25% in Lok Sabha elections. So mark out for that one. I believe that by the time next Lok Sabha elections, BJP will overtake CPM as the number 2 party in Kerala, if not in terms of seats, then certainly in terms of votes. It is possible. And from there, the politics of Kerala will never be the same again. And you will see what you see in West Bengal today, maybe 10 years down the lane, similar kind of politics. I'm not saying that 10 years down the lane, BJP is going to win 2/3 seats in West Bengal, Kerala Assembly. But the trajectory will remarkably the same. The line of action, the politics, everything will be remarkably the same.
Right. One last question, we saw what happened in 2024, the Lok Sabha elections, in a way, the kind of setback that the BJP received despite, coming to power. With all these assembly elections that have taken place recently, including Bihar, Haryana, and now, West Bengal, because this was, in a way, when we speak to BJP leader, they call it as the last bastion, the focus was there, as you pointed out about Amit Shah. He said he will spend 15-20 days in West Bengal. What does it mean for the BJP nationally, as well as Prime Minister Narendra Modi, especially keeping 2029 in mind?
I think I said this after 2024. Many people were hyper jubilant about the opposition performance. When I said that it's a blip in the radar, it's an aberration, because the seats that BJP lost in UP or Rajasthan were more of an aberration of their internal equation and infighting, rather than opposition doing great things anywhere. Maharashtra was a dampener for them, but look at the way it turned around Maharashtra. They learn from their mistakes. They know how it is to be done, and they work really, really hard on the ground. If there is one winner in this election is Amit Shah, all of a sudden his national stature is gonna go multifold, and he is clearly number 2 within the BJP in the line of succession, as and when Mr. Modi decides to hang up his boots. So Amit Shah is clearly the winner over here in that way. But when you talk about the national politics, one thing which another ironical way of saying it, people were discussing the 99 seats of 2024 as it the ultimate swing factor and going from here. And what has Congress done since 24? Have they gained or they have lost from that point? Number one. What has BJP done from 24? Point number 2. And if you are really discussing as South of India or South India as the bastion of the opposition, think twice. Think twice. Because DMK is out, right? Vijay is in, I understand that. And ADMK BJP combination has kind of retained where they are. They are holding the ground. Okay, that's one thing. Now, before 2029 happens, you are going to see right now, you can say Congress has got three states, southern in power, Telangana, Karnataka, and Kerala, right? What are you thinking? What do you think is going to happen in the next assembly elections in Telangana and in Karnataka? It's anybody's guess. You don't need a psychologist. You don't need Yashwant Deshmukh trackers from C-Voter to tell you that. Telangana, they won with hardly 30% of the vote with the incumbency that is building in they are going to fall flat. If BRS and BJP come together, it will be one-way traffic. If BRS goes its own way, BJP keeps on going its trajectory, it's going to be a different story. So Telangana is obviously very much on the card of the BJP to penetrate in. Karnataka, default is the game because BJP is strong in Karnataka. They have been in power in Karnataka, and whenever the pendulum swings from one way to the other, BJP will be the obvious choice. They will be winning by default. So by the time you are reaching 29, look at the map. All of a sudden, you are realizing BJP and its alliance are in power in Karnataka, in Telangana, in Andhra Pradesh, in Puducherry, and another party in Tamil Nadu. And all of a sudden, you have only one state which is looking pro-Congress, that is Kerala. So it's a greenfield expansion plan, as I call it. BJP knows that they have saturated in the north and the west, and at some point of time in natural incumbency, they might tend to lose few seats here and there. And they have made great inroads in the last decades in the greenfield states. In the, I would like to take the US parallel in that whether east coast of India, they are from the west coast politics. They have been winning Gujarat and they have won earlier Karnataka and Maharashtra and Goa. All of a sudden, the focus has now shifted to the east coast. They are in Odisha. They are in West Bengal. They are winning. They have won Andhra with their alliance partners. So, barring Tamil Nadu, which is if ADMK suppose joins the government, if any point of time, you are looking at the east coast as the new greenfield state where the BJP is going to win big chunk of Lok Sabha seats and trying to compensate the natural incumbency losses in the north and the west, in the western states. So I think they are now hedging their things very well balanced, and they are in for a long term. They are in for a good way of institutional building up their organization. And the ratio, by the way, Neelam, is 1:2 in our trackers. Modi's popularity is twice the popularity of Rahul Gandhi. BJP's vote share national is 40-20 in terms of Congress versus BJP game. Ratio is 1:2, and it's not going down. BJP is not known as a party which would just sit at ease because they are in power.
Right, and even the numbers are indicating that in Puducherry also it's the NDA which is heading for a victory.
Is the NDA coming back into power, and because the opposition is not seen as the power to take on to that fill in the gap, and so the game goes on. BJP is learning from their mistakes and is scoring in new greenfield states. Can we say the same thing with confidence about Congress? That's the big question. And the easiest thing for the Congress would be to blame the EVMs. But they have won Kerala. They have campaigned against Mamata Banerjee. Can they say the same thing? They were itching to go with TVK because TVK was supposed to win. They have won. Can they go and say the same thing about Ganesh Kumar and EVM and ECI and everything? Do you really think that BJP is winning because of that? If you think that BJP is winning only because of these things, then I believe you leave politics, because then you are blaming something else rather than looking into your own misunderstanding about what is happening around. You are not understanding the mood of the people. You are not understanding India has moved on. And your binaries of secular and communal politics is falling flat. It's not working. Your binaries of Gen Z or non-Gen Z is falling flat. It's not working the way you wish it to be. So please stop saying that democracy has died because BJP has won West Bengal. That would be the greatest, I would say, misunderstanding or wrong understanding of the mandates. One can be as wrong as one can be by doing this disservice. That's and thinking that we'll boycott the election and Zanzi will do the Dhaka model. That is the stupidest thing that I can ever imagine or think of. If somebody is saying or doing that, good luck to them.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Deshmukh, for this insightful analysis. And thank you so much for joining in.
Pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.